Hello and welcome to the Vinyl Sanctuary. My name is Christian and I hope that you will join me in taking refuge in records. So I'm here today with part 3 of my All My Colours series, which sees me going through my entire vinyl collection and highlighting all the albums in there that have got a colour in their title. So parts 1 and 2 have already been recorded and uploaded on the channel, so I will pop links to those videos in the description box for this video that you're watching now. So part 1 saw me looking at the colours brown, grey and black. Part 2 was the colour, or should I say shade technically, of cream, followed by the colour white. And now today, part 3, we're going to be looking at silver and gold, which are also precious metals as we know, but they're also, in my view and for the purposes of my series, they're going to be regarded as colours as well. So when we get to the end of the video, I will give you a heads up as to what to expect in part 4, so that you can get your list together of the albums which fit into those colours that I'll be looking at, and we'll take it from there. So up until this point, I just want to say thank you to everybody who has tuned into the series to date. I've really enjoyed doing it. It's been a lot of fun, and it was actually quite surprising to see how many albums I have got in my vinyl collection that do indeed have colours in the titles. So it's been quite an interesting exercise in that regard. It's also been really good fun commenting as well with subscribers and viewers in the comments section. There's been some good fun in there, good humour, and also a brilliant opportunity just to discuss music and for us all to share our passion about all the different tunes that we're into. So that's been really great as well. Okay, so without any further ado, I shall get into silver and gold. In terms of how I've gone about putting this whole series together, I won't repeat all of that here now in part 3 because I'm well into the series by now, as you can see. So if you do want to find any of that out, either because you've not watched the series as yet or you want to refresh yourself with that, then please do check out part 1, where I go into all my thinking behind why I'm actually doing what I'm doing and how it all came about. So a very quick shout out to Jesse, because it was his idea. So Jesse, I do hope that you're tuning in and that you enjoy what I'm going to show you now. Okay, so kicking us off today, we've got 2 albums which fall under silver, and then the rest of them will be gold. And greatest hits compilations and stuff have been included. So there's quite a few compilations and things which are in the part today. So we're in the UK to begin with a really great power pop album. It's an album that I've shown on the channel a few times to date, and I'm delighted to be showing it again. It takes me right back to my teenage years, about 15 to be exact. So starting us off here, we have got Silver Sun with their self-titled debut album. Superb record, this one. As you can see from that cover art, it's very much, got a bit of a kind of a disaster, well, not a disaster movie, like a monster movie, sort of B-movie vibe to it. With that giant creature there attacking the building, and then obviously, you've got the aircraft coming in there to sort things out. So I've always loved that cover. Silver Sun always had great artwork on their certainly their early singles and this album. I think the artwork on Neo Wave wasn't the greatest, which was the follow-up to this album, but we'll keep it positive and we'll keep it focused on the record that I'm showing today. So just a little bit of a crackle here while I take it out of the plastic there, the covering. There we go. Yeah, okay, so there. You can see it in a little bit more detail now. So there's the front. There's the back. It's an original pressing, this one, from '97, produced by Nigel Godrich. It's got a poster there, I think, is it as well? No, actually that's the inner sleeve. That I've just got that separate. Yeah, I've got that in there, I think, just to protect it. So I think I've housed it in from memory. Yeah, I have just got it in one of those plastic covers there. So yeah, I've kept that there just to preserve it, because it is getting on a little bit, this one, and I just want to try and keep it as safe as I can. So yeah, I didn't listen to this one, as you can probably tell from the fact that I had to just reacquaint myself with that prior to doing this video, but I've heard it so many times already, mainly on CD when I originally had it as a youngster, and then I've gone on to acquire a copy of it on vinyl. Not played it for a while, but these songs are absolutely etched into my mind just from spinning it as often as I did back in the day. And yeah, they were a group from Camden Town, based in London. And yeah, Nigel Godrich produced it, as I mentioned, one of his earlier production jobs. And very interestingly, the same month that this record came out, back in 1997, there was also another record that Nigel Godrich had worked on by a band called Radiohead, and that album was OK Computer. So a very interesting time there for Nigel, with two very, very different sounding records. But, this one might not have gone on to reach the dizzy heights and the critical acclaim of an album like OK Computer, which, I do regard as a masterpiece. But this one here, in terms of power pop, is pure perfection as far as I'm concerned. So if you're into the likes of, Cheap Trick, Badfinger, your early 70s power pop purveyors, then you're really going to love Silver Sun. They're definitely taking the cues from there. One would be forgiven for thinking, listening to them, that they were actually from the US as well. They've got a very American sounding vocal delivery, although they are all from London. Very Beach Boysy in places as well. I hear a bit of a lot of that kind of sunshiny 60s kind of a groove to this in places as well, but it is straight up power pop. And also as well, just to keep with the US angle, if you're into the likes of the later period power pop bands of the 90s, such as, Weezer, Fountains of Wayne, Jellyfish from the early 90s, Super Drag, groups like that, then you are definitely going to enjoy Silver Sun. So in terms of highlights, Golden Skin is an absolute cracker. I've always really enjoyed that one. Julia makes me smile a great deal as well. That's one that my best friend and I in particular really enjoy. And it does actually evoke memories of a lady called Julia that I did once work with back in my teenage years. We both worked at a record store together for a time. And also, what else do I love on here? Service is superb as well. That's a great song, track number 7. That's got a great, that's very Fountains of Wayne sounding, actually, that one. But the absolute highlight on it for me is Lava, which kicks off side B, sorry, track 1, side B, Lava. Brilliant tune. If you are going to go and check out a song from this record, please do make it Lava. I can't speak highly enough of that one. Very, very power poppy, great hooks, crunchy guitars, great rhythm section to it. Sounds brilliant. The production job on it is superb. Animal's Feet towards the end right at the end, mixes things up. Sound wise, it's a bit of a sort of more contemplative, melancholy feel to that closing track. But yeah, this is great all the way through. Very sunshiny, this one. Really positive, uplifting, and an album to put a smile on your face. So I think that's a really good start there with Silver Sun. Really good songwriting throughout. Makes me, just makes me happy whenever I take a look at that. But I do need to give my copy a spin sooner rather than later. Okay, so we've worked through that one. So good opener there, and now we're moving over to the US of A, and we are actually going over specifically to California. So this was a group I think are hugely underrated. They have also appeared on the channel before as well. They were part of I wouldn't say they were prime movers in the Paisley Underground, but they were certainly linked to it. They weren't up there, I think, with the likes of the Bangles, certainly not commercially, or the Rain Parade, even critically, really. But they were part of it. So these guys, I feel, were going more from a kind of a desert rock, neo-psychedelic direction. I think they weren't quite as jingly-jangly as some of the the groups I've mentioned there. For instance, like the Bangles, certainly they're quite power pop influenced. Rain Parade, I think, were coming more from sort of a folky, birdsian sort of an angle. I think here this group were definitely more desert orientated, a very kind of a dusty sound to them, but really evocative. Great cryptic lyrics and an unbelievable singing voice on this chap as well, Guy Kaiser, a very growly, guttural sound. So the record coming up now for our final silver entry is Sack Full of Silver by Thin White Rope. Such a good group, really, really, really good group. I really enjoy listening to these guys. I've had the pleasure of being into them for a number of years now. Read about them a long, long time ago. I think it was in some, probably would have been in some music publication, some article maybe about them, like Great Lost Cult Bands or something like that. And I just loved the sound of them from what I remember reading. Went away pretty much and started checking them out, and just continued to fall deeper and deeper for them. So there's the front cover there. Let's do the cover art first. It's got a lovely swirling, very colourful, quite apt really, that artwork for a series that's devoted to colours. Some beautiful colours in there. I've actually got some really nice artwork coming up in this series, to be honest, in this part I should say, that really does have a beautiful range of colour in there. And then we've got more of a stark black and white vibe going on there on the rear. Photograph of the group there as well, a very almost been done like sort of miniature sort of puppet characters really on that there, as you can see, like almost like little mini mannequins. It's quite an interesting cover there on the rear, picture I should say, on the rear there. Excellent stuff. Okay, and then we've got the inner here again. So this is another one where I've decided to keep the inner sleeve separate. I must have gone through a little phase, I think, when I was doing that. I've just shown two there on the bounce. I don't usually do that. Sometimes I do. Maybe it's if I feel that, maybe the inners are a little bit flimsy or not in the greatest of condition. And then I've just housed the actual record there in a plain white sleeve. It is good for protection. It is something that I have utilised every now and again, but not all that often. So there we go. Just show that off again. Okay, so I've already given a bit of an overview of what to expect with the sound of Thin White Rope. So yeah, if you're into your desert rock, if you're into the likes of, I suppose early Queens of the Stone Age, and maybe even groups like the Gun Club who've got like a bit of a dusty kind of sound to them, although that's more of a cowpunky type thing. Certainly the Meat Puppets, I would say, would be more of a worthy comparison to the kind of sound that Thin White Rope were going for. Then please do check this band out. Now, my favourite song on here, without any shadow of a doubt, is On The Flow, Floe, On The Flow. Brilliant song. Love the chiming guitars on it. For me personally, that's got like a bit of a television vibe to it in terms of the guitar interplay. But when you hear the vocals I mentioned a little earlier of Guy Kaiser, we're getting into a very different terrain from television. He sounds very different to Tom Verlaine, put it that way. Great voice though, but lots of lovely interplay on that track, On The Flow. Great chorus to it, if you can kind of call it a chorus. But it's a very unconventional kind of song structure, in my opinion, in terms of the dynamic shifts, but it just works so beautifully. And it's got an unbelievably cool outro on it as well. It's one of those outros that for me, I could just keep hearing it and not tire of it. Diesel Man on side 2 is excellent as well. Sack Full of Silver is very, very good. The title track, and I also just want to give a very quick mention to the fact that there is a cover on here of You Do Right by the krautrock band Can. So for anyone who's tuning in who's into Can, and they might very well be interested in hearing a Californian desert rock group tackling You Do Right, then please do give that one a listen as well. That is definitely worth your time and attention. But for me personally, along with that Can cover, I would encourage you to check out On The Flow from this particular record. These are a band, or this is a band I should say, who I don't feel have got a weak album in their discography, and they are a band that I'm sure at some point in the future on this channel I would like to put under closer and further scrutiny. Maybe even an album, or sorry, a band that I could do like a bit of a ranking the albums of or something like that. If that's of interest to anybody, if that idea, then please do let me know in the comments, and that might well be one that I consider, because I have got all of their studio albums on vinyl. So great stuff. Yeah, Thin White Rope, Sack Full of Silver, really, really lovely. Okay, so we're getting into our golds now then. So yeah, we only had a couple of silvers to go through there. So there's some big hitters in here, very famous names. So yeah, we'll carry on, we'll get into it. So this one here is a group that I've just mentioned in passing as regards Silver Sun, in terms of being a bit of an influence on that band. So we're going over here again to California, to the heady days of surfing and sunshine and a carefree life, I would like to think. This is music that does make me smile, and the weather here at the moment at the time of recording would definitely lend itself. Even though I'm in the northwest of England, it is pretty sunshiny at the moment, so maybe this record will get a spin pretty quickly while the weather's keeping up. We've got 20 Golden Greats here by the Beach Boys, so it does get in just because, golden, so it does qualify as gold for me, that one. The colour of the greats on this one are golden. There you go, a gold. So we get in there. But yeah, I mean, what can you say about Brian Wilson and company, really? I mean, it's the Beach Boys. So we're talking about some of the most beautiful pop music ever created. Just a plain sleeve on that one. I always show the sleeves up if they are of any interest, and gatefolds and things like that, if you are new to my channel. But yeah, that's just a plain inner on that one. But yeah, this is just a great selection of earlier Beach Boys tracks, I would say. So, we've got stuff on here, Surfing USA, Fun, Fun, Fun. It's going to be impossible to only name a few favourites on here. I might have to read them all out. We've got 10 on each side. So here we go, Surfing USA, Fun, 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 I Get Around. Don't Worry Baby, that is definitely one of my all-time favourite Beach Boys tracks. Love the melancholy in that one, and the harmonies, the vocal performances on it are just heavenly, beautiful. Actually, no, it's going to take it's going to take ages to go through all of them. I wanted to, but it's got the Then a Kissed Her on here as well, which I do love on side 2. And let me just, of course, I've got to mention God Only Knows, of course. I have, the absolute, just the absolute stunner that is God Only Knows. I think famously referred to by Paul McCartney as I think he said it was the greatest song ever written. I think he said as well it was the song that he wished he'd written. And yeah, good vibrations as well. But yeah, I mean, everything on here is wonderful. I Can Hear Music, Sloop John B. Yeah, there's quite a few on here off Pet Sounds, California Girls, etc. Yeah, I could go on and on. Please do just check that out. There you go. I'll hold it up. You can have a read of it. There you go. Stopped myself from the tracks there, didn't I? Could have just gone through and read them all, but yeah, we've got to move on to other stuff as well. But I've named some crackers there. So yeah, if you want your sunshine, harmony-laden pop, just lovely instrumentation throughout, production is just unbelievably great, then please do check out 20 Golden Greats by the Beach Boys. Okay. Right, so moving on, we've got another wonderful band here, again from California. So there's definitely a vibe here when it comes to a bit of a pattern here forming when it comes to, silver and gold and colours. But again, it's another gold one. One of my favourite quartets in rock music history here. Love this band so much, and I need to spend some more time with them. I've neglected them for a good while, I would say. Not played them enough in recent times, although I did acquire one of their albums, studio albums, fairly recently, again at time of recording, but I just used to listen to these all the time at one point, but I need to get back to doing that. But coming up now, we've got the brilliant compilation Weird Scenes Inside the Goldmine. I always have to check the title of that so it doesn't trip me up, by the Doors. And again, for a series that's looking at colours, let's just take a moment to admire this beautiful artwork there. Gorgeous painting there, watercolours there of Jim Morrison. I've always loved this cover. So you've got Jim here, and then you've got the band members here. You've got Robbie Krieger, Ray Manzarek, and John Densmore there as well. So fantastic cover, that. Beautiful use of shade. I love that sort of like really watery, washed out effect that's on the artwork there. So I'll just hold that there in case people maybe haven't seen that cover before. And then we've got some gorgeous colours on the rear as well. So I'll just pop the records out because it is a double LP, this one. So, but they're just plain inners on that. There is a gatefold to show you. So there's the rear. Look at that. Stunning colours there. Love how the faces are kind of coming into sort of focus there. So there's Robbie again. We've got Ray there again, and John up there. Just show that there like that. Beautiful. And then we've got just a great shot there of the group in their pomp. So that looks like it was from '67. That looks like the time of the debut album being recorded, I would say, that photograph there. I might be mistaken on that one, but that does look like it was from that time. And then you've got your liner notes there as well. Lovely. Right, favourite songs. Wow. So this is a great collection. It really is. I mean, if you want to just get some prime Doors tracks all in one packet, package I should say, sorry, that gives you a really great overview of the band's fabulous timeless music, then I think this is a great start. I mean, side one alone, I mean, it starts off with Break On Through, which for me is the perfect way to start any Doors collection off. It's track one, side one, of course, of their self-titled debut from 1967. Got Strange Days on here, which I love, Peace Frog, which then goes into Blue Sunday, so it's got the two tracks together there. All beautiful 5 minutes of it is on here as well. Side two, I Love the End. That's my all-time favourite Doors song. 11 minutes and 35 seconds of pure, just Eastern-inspired psychedelic bliss for me. Love that song. Very, very evocative, thought-provoking, and lyrics in terms of, leading towards discussion and observation over the years and examination. The Spy, I love to bits as well. Love her madly. Then on side three, gets a bit rocking on here. We've got LA Woman on there, which I love. Who Scared You as well. It's fantastic. And then side four, wow, got Riders on the Storm. Love Ray Manzarek's playing in particular on that one. Maggie McGill, Horse Latitudes, and then it ends with 11 minutes of When the Music's Over, which seems quite the apt choice to bring this beautiful compilation to an end. Produced throughout by Paul A. Rothchild, and then also Bruce Botnick and the Doors. Accredited on here as well. Engineering is by Bruce Botnick, released on the Elektra label. Great compilation. I'm really pleased to have that one in the collection. I've still got a couple of gaps in my Doors studio album collection with the vinyl. I did have them, I had them all on CD, but at the moment I've just got a few of my absolute favourite Doors albums on vinyl, but I am actively seeking to acquire more of them as and when I see them. But there we go, great album, that one. Love it very, very much. I'm just going to pop it back into its crackly covering, and then we can move on to the next entry, which is another best of. Can't really call the next one the greatest hits because the band coming up didn't really have any hits, but I mean, it's arguable with that one. I mean, you could say, I think it's more deep cuts really than greatest hits. One could argue with that. It hasn't got the likes of Light My Fire on here and, Touch Me and stuff like that, but it's more deep cuts, which is probably why or relatively deep cuts, which is probably why I admire it as much as I do. I think it's a compilation that was put together more with a sense of, track sequencing and making it sound like an album in itself rather than just a hodgepodge or just throwing all the big hits together. So I do think it lends itself very well to that. Okay, just my observation on that one. Right, so let's move on to this next band then. So this is a best of that captures a very specific period in this group's career. They only lasted for 10 years in total, which was the master plan of the leader of this group, the founder of this group, who goes simply by the name of Lawrence. They're a band who I love to bits. I've done a studio album ranking of this group, which you can find again on the channel if you're interested in checking it out. But moving over now to Water Orton, which is a village near Birmingham in the West Midlands here in the UK, we have got Felt. Love that artwork. And this album, as you can see there, is called Gold Mine Trash. And that is a photograph from Neuschwanstein Castle in Germany. I believe it's the throne room. So there on the front and back, absolutely stunning, ornate photograph. And again, we've been talking about colours here. Look at all the beautiful colours there in those photographs. So there's the rear. There's the front. Look at that column there is absolutely stunning. All the work there as well, the craftsmanship that's gone into that. Very, very grand. And it's a grand album as well. So it captures a period of Felt that I love. I don't think it's the best entry point for Felt. There is another compilation that was put together when they've moved over to Creation Records called Bubblegum Perfume, which I do think is a more accessible entry point into the world of felt. But if you're getting into them on a deeper level, I mean, this is a band now that I've been into for well over 20 years, then this is the stuff that really lights me up personally. So I'll just take it out of the sleeve here. You can get a better look at it there without that plastic covering it there. There we go. Okay, so favourites on here. Some absolute gorgeous classic felt tracks here. So I'll tell you the favourite tracks first, and just in case you're wondering who felt, I'll give you a little bit more of an idea of their sound as well. So Penelope Tree would be the song to please go away and check on this one. If you're listening to my recommendations at all, Penelope Tree is just a beautiful jangle pop song, just early 80s alternative pop perfection for me. Beautiful tune. Something Sends Me to Sleep, which opens things up, is really nice as well. Quite hypnotic, quite a bit of a Velvet's vibe going on to that, which could be argued is does prevail throughout other tracks on the record as well. Trails of Colour Dissolve is very pretty. Dismantle King is Off the Throne is superb as well. I'm saying pretty much all of them here as well. Sunlight Bathe the Golden Glow is just classic felt. Doesn't get much better than that. And then we get the likes of Crystal Ball. The Day the Rain Came Down is very jingly jangly. Great guitar work on that by Maurice Deebank. Fortune, Vasco da Gama, and then we finish with Primitive Painters. Brought my own rule there and said them all. Should have done that with the Beach Boys, really shouldn't have, but there was 20 of them. There's only 10 on here, I think. Yeah, 10. Primitive Painters is a bit of an indie classic. Here in the UK, it was a collaboration between Felt and Elizabeth Fraser of the Cocktail Twins, who sings backing vocals on it. And that song, along with a couple of others on here, was produced by Robin Guthrie of the Cocktail Twins as well. So you got a bit of indie royalty there, with Liz and Lawrence getting together to contribute their respective vocal talents. Very different voices, but getting together for that wonderful track. I mean, anyone who's a Primitive Painters, more often than not, I think, become an instant fan of it. It's just a great epic track, that one. And then we get some great photographs here of the band inside. So there's Lawrence there, Gary Ainge there, the drummer. But yeah, if you want to kind of get more of an idea of my thoughts and feelings on felt, then I would please encourage you to watch my album ranking video that I did. That's my favourite, one of my favourite anyway photos ever of felt, that one of Gary and Lawrence. They were the only two constants in the group. There's Maurice Deebank, who I mentioned before, on guitar. Brilliant player, unbelievably good. Very influenced by the likes of, Vinnie Riley from the Drillty Column, Hank Marvin, players like that. Just a great clean sound to his style. Lots of arpeggios, quite classical in places as well. So yeah, hopefully my description there of Goldmine Trash has tickled your fancy, I suppose. It's maybe got your interest levels up to go and check it out. If you are a fan of this album, please do let me know what you think of it. If you might be new to felt, you might be this might be a group who've lived in your heart for decades. So I always love talking about felt. They always light me up. So if anybody's got thoughts, feelings, memories of felt, please do share them with me, because I do love them very, very much. But yeah, in terms of the sound, I did say very quickly, I've mentioned that. So yeah, if you're into just your sort of indie pop, alternative guitar music, I'd say their earlier cuts there kind of lean on the gothic scale slightly, but then they do move into a slightly sunnier habitat, I would say. But the darkness isn't always quite disappeared or disappeared entirely, although there is more shafts of light creeping into the sound as they progressed. But the likes of Television, groups like that, they were a huge influence on Lawrence and felt. The Velvet Underground, with those sort of very tribal type drumming patterns going on, courtesy of Gary Ainge in the early years. No cymbals were allowed by Lawrence. Then do check it out. I do think if you're into your moody post-punk, you'll find felt right up your street. Okay, so moving on. I've got another post-punk group here now. This group came out of Leeds in the UK, so we're still in the UK for the moment. We've moved from the West Midlands, moving into Leeds now in Yorkshire. And yeah, I mean, what a group. They released one of the greatest debuts in history, in my opinion. Came out in 1979. That album was Entertainment, utterly fantastic. This was the follow-up. This is a different sound, I would say, but still very, very effective. Really strong follow-up. I mean, to kind of top Entertainment, I feel would have been pretty much impossible, but this is an admirable album, and in many ways probably very underrated. So coming up now, we've got another post-punk group, as I mentioned, Gang of Four with Solid Gold. There we go. For anybody who watches me recently, or watches me regularly, I should say, at the time of recording, this record here is a fairly recent acquisition for me. So I did have it on CD, but I've not had it all that long on vinyl. I have had a chance to play it now, though, and it played through perfectly. I'm delighted to report. It's a beautiful copy. I'm very pleased with the quality of it, having acquired it. So there's the inner sleeve there. Then we've got a picture there of a cheeseburger on the back, which is in reference to the track Cheeseburger, which is one of my favourite songs on this album. So yeah, a little bit more about Gang of Four. So yeah, post-punk group, as I've already mentioned. A very angular, abrasive guitar sound coming through courtesy of Andy Gill. Really great player. He's been a big influence on a lot of players in that kind of post-punk sphere, and I know certainly he was an influence on Will Sargent from Echo The Bunnymen. He's gone on to influence lots of other players as well. I do want to say, actually, just while we're talking here about the personnel, that again, at the time of recording here, on the 11th of April 2025, that just under a week ago, the bassist from Gang of Four, Dave Allen, very sadly passed away. So I do wish to make this this commentary, this spotlight on this album, a tribute to Dave Allen and his amazing work in Gang of Four. He was a tremendous bass player, had a wonderful propulsive style to him, could play funk brilliantly well, but also come up with some really great post-punk bass lines as well. Just always there for the groove, and his work alongside Hugo Burnham, who is the drummer for Gang of Four, who's got a very militaristic, very precise, economical style, but very powerful as well. He went on to be a very accomplished and highly sought after session musician following Gang of Four, and I think during actually as well, but he did do a lot of session work. Quite interestingly, once played for Samantha Fox, did Hugo Burnham on the Touch Me single. But going back to Dave and his work, just a great player, and a huge loss to the music world. So I just wanted to put that out there, that this is an album that certainly showcases the brilliant bass talents of Dave Allen, and he also went on to be a founding member of the group Shriekback as well, which also featured Barry Andrews, who was formerly of XTC. He was their keyboard player. Okay, so in terms of favourite songs on here, What We All Want is absolutely brilliant. When I actually gave this a spin, not that long ago after acquiring it, that song instantly hit me again, of thinking, wow, I'd actually forgotten how good that song is. I love the lyrics of it. I love the vocal delivery of John King on there as well. Just a brilliant song, that one. Might even be kind of coming up to be my favourite on the record now. But I've also always loved Outside the Trains Don't Run on Time, the aforementioned Cheeseburger, and also He'd Send in the Army, which closes the record off as well. But super enjoyable, very good album. Slightly more commercial sounding, I would say, than Entertainment. That is a lot more abrasive, a lot more angry and angular. But the lyrics on here continue to be of a very sort of far left leaning bent, as you would expect from Gang of Four. You know, they were politically very charged, and always ready with, I suppose, their own manifesto of what they believed in, and trying to convey their own convictions through a superb set of lyrics. Very often their lyrics were thought-provoking and very much part of their overall aesthetic and principles and morals. So again, a group that I'm sure had a lot of influence on a lot of other left-leaning groups at the time, and certainly as well probably bands that came up afterwards, you know, the likes of Manic Street Preachers, who are my all-time favourite group, who certainly had more socialist, left-leaning principles when they first burst on the scene. I'm sure they would have been digesting Gang of Four at some point as well. So yeah, solid gold, great record by Gang of Four. Okay, so now we're moving to another compilation, and we're back to the US as well now, but this time we're not in California. We're not on the West Coast. We're going over to the East Coast. We're going over to Greenwich Village, New York City. We have now got the golden hour of the Loving Spoonful. And what an absolutely lovely group the Loving Spoonful were. Love these guys to bits. Says on the back here that the Loving Spoonful were lauded and hailed as America's very own Beatles. They looked good, sounded good, and did a power of good for the United States, sagging confidence in the world of pop music. So that's just a little entry there from the liner notes there on the back. And those words were written by Peter Jones. So yeah, again, this is just brilliant sunshine pop. So if you are indeed into the likes of the Beatles, if you're into the Beach Boys, you want to listen to some beautiful harmonies, just excellently played music from the 1960s, then please do check out The Loving Spoonful if you're not already aware of them. You get a lot of tracks on here. I mean, it is the golden hour after all. So you get a lot of songs, got 24 on here to be precise. So it's outdone the Beach Boys there in terms of the number of tracks available on it. But it is only pressed on one record. But the sound is good on it. You know, it's okay. It's not the most wonderful sounding album I've ever heard on vinyl, but it's certainly passable. It does its thing. And the Golden Hour was obviously an ongoing series of records where you had, you know, your 60 minutes of the likes of Donovan and the Kinks and groups like that, or artists like that, I should say, in Donovan's case. But yeah, a great entry here with The Loving Spoonful. So let's get to some of these favourites. So these are all fantastic for me. But Do You Believe in Magic, which opens up side one, brilliant song. Summer in the City has to be arguably their most famous track, maybe I would say. Along with Do You Believe in Magic. I mean, there's a lot of very popular songs on here, but I think most people arguably would think of Summer in the City when they think of Loving Spoonful. If anybody disagrees with that, then please let me know in the comments if you do. Blues in the Bottle is superb. I love Money on here as well. But yeah, where is it? My favourite. There it is, yeah. I've just found it there. My favourite Loving Spoonful track is the closing song on side one, which is Darling Be Home Soon. Adore that song. Love it very, very much. One of my very best mates as well. It's his favourite Loving Spoonful track as well. So yeah, we've chatted about that song, I think, on occasion in the past. Yeah, it's a great song. We both really appreciate how great the Loving Spoonful were. You've got some brilliant songs on side two as well. You're a Big Boy Now's on here. You didn't have to be so nice. Younger Generation towards the end is very good. Coconut Grove is on here as well. Nashville Cats to open side one. To open side two. So again, you can't go wrong with that. If you've got an hour to spare, you want some uplifting, sunshiny pop from the 1960s, that with that classic American sound to it, then please do check out The Loving Spoonful. I do like that artwork as well. It's really playful. It's like sort of plasticine models there of the group. Looks great, that. And that lovely typeface as well. Looks like it's made out, yeah, looks like it's like honey there at the top, doesn't it? Looks great how they've done that there. So, great stuff. Very, very nice entry for our gold part of the series. Okay, so moving on again. We're staying in the US now. We're going over to an artist, multi-instrumentalist, could do it all. Composer, arranger, producer, lyricist, dancer, singer, guitar wizard. I think you know who I'm talking about by now. Coming out of Minneapolis. He's my all-time favourite artist. He's my all-time fave, full stop. I've had the pleasure of watching him live 3 times. He's the best live performer I've ever watched. What a talent. Amazing. Love him to bits. Always have, always will. We've got Prince with The Gold Experience. And as you can see here from the hype sticker there, this was a record store day purchase. Replica of the expanded limited edition promo version of Prince's 1995 album. It's been cut on 2 gold LPs. Features the most beautiful girl in the world, gold. What does that say there? Sorry about that. My eyes are failing me a little bit there. plus 5 I Hate You remixes as well. Just had to take the cover off that. It was like trying to read it through through a filthy window or something. There you go. I've taken the cover off so I could read it better for you. Didn't help as well, of course, that with Prince he uses an actual eye emoji graphic. I mean, he pretty much pioneered that, didn't he? The whole shorthand thing to represent I and then U. He just has the U as well. So yeah, he was always thinking ahead. Was Prince? He was always innovating and just abreast of everything. Remember as well, he was one of the first artists, wasn't he, to embrace the internet at the time when that thing landed. But yeah, what can I say about this record, the Gold Experience? So I'll show you the inside first. So it's not a gatefold, this one, but it is 2 LPs. Just show you very quickly what they look like. Just pull one out because they both look the same. So there is the gold vinyl there. So yeah, this is a lovely copy to have of it. I did have it again, had it on CD. I didn't have the greatest artwork on it, to be honest. It was a sort of blurred out photograph of Prince. His artwork over the years wasn't always, to be fair, given how obsessive he was about his music and the perfectionism involved in making sure that every single note was in the right place and things. I always felt with Prince, probably my only criticism of him really, and it's very hard to criticise him because I love him so much, but a lot of his artwork isn't the greatest on his albums. That's just my opinion, but I do love the artwork that they've gone for here. It's very stark, it's very minimal. You've just got your gold palette. You've got you've got his symbol, the iconic symbol to represent him there, and then you've just got that on the back as well. So that is very, very small writing. Need to get my eyes tested. Okay, so yeah, favourite tracks. So we've mentioned a few there already. I know that there's a few people out there. I watch a lot of Prince videos, Prince related videos on YouTube, and I know that there's quite a few people that don't really rate The Most Beautiful Girl in the World. I do. I've heard it being called, drippy and syrupy, and it's this sort of like very cliche ballad, but I can't get enough of it. I loved it when it came out, and I love it to this day. It was a number one single for Prince here in the UK. But yeah, I've always loved it. So let's see what else is on here as well. P Control is a decent enough opener, as you'd expect with Prince. The lyrics on that are, should we say, rather racy. Then on side 2 here we've got The Most Beautiful Girl in the World on there. I absolutely love Dolphin. That's actually, I think, a really underrated Prince song, Dolphin. I love the lyrics of that, talking almost about what's like reincarnation, coming back as a dolphin. Again, thought-provoking in places. I mean, Prince could be one of these where, in terms of mood, he can create a mood in one area of an album where, I just got a little bit of dust off there, where, 1 minute he's being very sort of sexualized and very, very over the top in one way with that type of theme, and then he can follow it up with a track or two and start talking about spirituality and reincarnation, the state of the world. He does sometimes keep you on your toes, I think, from a lyrical standpoint. I mean, Sign of the Times is a great example of that, where the lyrics, in terms of a consistent theme, do jar a little bit, but somehow it all comes together. But it is a bit of a sprawling album, this one, and I would say that of his 90s efforts, along with Diamonds and Pearls, I would say it's definitely one of his stronger albums of this period. But again, if people have got a different point of view on that, maybe there's Prince fans here watching that are not particularly a fan of the Gold Experience, then do let me know. I think it's a really good album. I'm not saying it's his best by any stretch. I'm not saying that at all, but it is a really good album. It's strong. It has got, of course, I Hate You on here. I mentioned that. It's got the remixes as well, but which take up, disc 2 is, side 2, disc 2 is the remixes. But I also love on here as well. That was always an interesting one. That was Billy Jack Bitch as well, which I think does have its fans within the sort of the Prince fandom, the wider Prince fandom. But again, one of those songs that lyrically it sort of takes you back a little bit, and it's like, okay, that's kind of come out of left field a little bit. But there are parts of the record that I think do set you up for that shift in tone. But when it does arrive, that one, it's got quite kind of a sultry sound to it, but it's pretty aggressive in its own way as well. It's just a great mood piece, that one, and great lyrics as well. So yeah, I really do like that album a lot. It's a good listen. It's a long album. It's not one that I spin frequently, but when I'm in the mood for it, or whenever I feel like kind of going a bit deeper with Prince, because it's not a go-to that I would say, I wouldn't reach for it as my number one choice, but it's nice to have it there. And I do think having it pressed over, the two LPs with those extra remixes, having it in gold as well is really nice. But before I kind of move on to my next one, I did want it, because this is a real cracker coming up, one of the best ofs ever. I do want to say the title track on there is absolutely immense. Gold is another great single. Did very well again here in the UK. Great single. Epic guitar solo at the end of it. One of my favourite ever pieces of guitar playing that Prince ever laid down, that I've had the pleasure of hearing. Don't think he ever played it when I watched him live, though. I don't think he did on the 3 occasions that I watched him, but it's a great song. I love the lyrics of it as well. It's very, again, it's quite spiritual, aspirational. It's talking about, I suppose, almost like reaching your goals and trying to get to where you want to be in life. But then it's also, making the point that, all that glitters ain't gold. So almost like maybe a bit of a cautionary sort of slice of wisdom to the lyrics as well. But it's very uplifting, and I do love that song. And as I said, it's just got this really heroic piece of guitar work on there as well. And as you'd expect with Prince, it's a wonderful production job as well. So that's that one, The Gold Experience by Prince, and it is indeed an experience. And I suppose as well, if I'm keeping on brand here at the time, I mean, this was when he was still, I think at the time, I think, was he still not, I don't think he was still known as Prince at that time. He had become the symbol at that point. Yeah, that's right. He'd done the Love Symbol album, and he'd done this, and Diamonds and, he was still Prince then, I think. Diamonds and Pearls. I'm going off on my own tangent. Then Emancipation was the album that came later that freed him of the whole Prince persona, the whole artist persona, when he was free from his deal and he went back to being Prince again. But that's all another story for another time, isn't it? There we go. I'll end up getting myself into knots if I'm not too careful, if I've not already done so already. Because anyone who's new to my channel, I just do this all off the top of my head. So there's no editing. There's no, I don't do any of that. I just talk and ramble and waffle. So sometimes I do trip myself up. So there we go. Moved on from that one. Prince, the artist formerly known as Prince, Love Symbol, however you want to know him. Prince Rogers Nelson, Taff Cap, many names. The Purple One, His Royal Badness, just a brilliant artist, love him to bits. Right, okay. So moving on then. Got the greatest group, arguably, ever, for many people, ever. For some, maybe better than the Beatles, better than everybody else. I personally don't prefer them to the Beatles, but I do love them very much, and I'm very happy to have this one in the collection. It's a brilliant compilation. It's just chock full of just great songs. You can stick it on from start to finish, and you can boogie to it, rock out to it. There's other parts of it that are a bit more gentle. It's bluesy, it's raw in places, it's just superb. So without any further ado, we've got Rolled Gold by a band called the Rolling Stones, who are a little bit good, a little bit famous as well. So there we go. Wonderful. Can't really say much more than that. I mean, it's the Rolling Stones, isn't it? So I've mentioned it before, when you're talking about these groups that are canonized, and pretty much they've just had these periods where everything they were doing or releasing was literally gold. They had the Midas touch about them. It's sort of difficult to put into words just what these groups mean to people. So I think it's always wise in that respect just to stick to the music, stick to my own thoughts and feelings, rather than trying to offer anything further in terms of commentary or anything like that. I do try to do that from a point of interest, but You know, the Rolling Stones, they're just absolutely legendary. Wonderful. And I would love to know in the comments, you know, are they your favourite group? Do you even rate them at all? Maybe you don't, but they're certainly one of a kind. You know, one of arguably again, have they got the greatest frontman in Mick Jagger? Best ever rhythm guitarist in Keith Richards? Are they the greatest songwriting duo in history? You know, lots of debate, lots of questions. So let's pop those away, and we can get into favourite tracks. Okay, so I've just shown the gatefold there briefly. I hope that you did get a chance to see it, all the liner notes there and everything. There we go. But yeah, I love everything on here, to be honest. And I mean, that's not a cop out. It's just the truth. I do. It's like the case with a lot of things I'm showing here. But I will pick out a few from each side. So side one, it's got a cover on here of "I Want to Be Your Man," the old Lennon McCartney song. Of course, you know, Beatles there, but it's a great version of it. The Last Time is one of my all-time favourite Stones songs, but you know, the closing track on side one is "I Can't Get No Satisfaction." Love that song so much. It has got the most powerhouse opening riff on it ever, and I love the Otis Redding version of it as well, just as a point of interest. So they're probably my three favourites on that side, although Little Red Rooster I love as well. Then we get to side two. Paint It Black is my all-time favourite Rolling Stones song. Always has been, always will be. I can't ever see that changing. I just adore that song so much. I love everything about it. Love that Eastern sort of vibe going on to it. You know, the chord structure, the melody to it, the drumming on it by Charlie Watts is just unbelievable. The performance vocally by Jagger, the lyrics to it, it's just an amazing song. I love Under My Thumb as well. 19th Nervous Breakdown, these are on side two. Side three, we've got Jumping Jack Flash, concluding that side, which I've always loved. Again, an absolutely monster piece of guitar playing on that riffery from Richards. Just, you know, the songcraft in that is just unbelievable. She's a Rainbow is this beautiful, like, little pretty poppy psychedelic piece, which I know was very influential on a lot of the Britpop artists, I would say, that came up a good few decades later. Ruby Tuesday, Let's Spend the Night Together. Wow, just brilliant on side three. Then side four, Gimme Shelter, one of my all-time favourite Stones tracks as well. Side four actually is just superb. 5 tracks on there. Honky Tonk Women, Sympathy for the Devil. What can you say about that one? Incredible. Might even be my second favourite ever song by the Stones behind Paint It Black. Street Fighting Man, Midnight Ramble, Gimme Shelter. Amazing. Roll gold. Great value for money, that one. Has to be one of the best ever greatest hits, that one. Or best ofs. Well, very best ofs, it's not greatest hits. I suppose technically it is the very best of, if we're going to keep semantics out of it. The very best of, for that time anyway, for what they'd released at that point when the album came out. Amazing stuff. Rolling Stones. Do you let me know if you think I did a good job of describing that one? Okay, so we're moving over now to another group from the 1960s, or we're certainly around in the 60s. UK group again. Very famously a backing group for a certain Cliff Richard. This is another 20 Golden Greats. It's not the Beach Boys, we've already had that one, but now we've got 20 Golden Greats by the Shadows. So here's a question I'm going to put out to anybody watching. If you're familiar with both 20 Golden Greats by the Beach Boys and 20 Golden Greats by the Shadows, which is your favourite? Which one do you prefer? So they are rather different to each other. Might be a very unfair comparison, but you know, I'm only asking as a bit of fun. Do let me know which one you prefer. So I think here what we have is a collection of songs that for a lot of aspiring guitarists at the time, you know, people getting into learning the instrument, you've got just the sheer brilliance of Hank Marvin on display here. My word, there's some great playing on here. So it opens up with side one, track one. Of course, it opens up with side one. It opens up with track one, side one. We've got Apache. One of the greatest instrumentals ever recorded for me, full stop. It's just one of the very, very best ever. Love it. Apache. Please listen to Apache if you don't know it. Man of Mystery. Great sort of spy movie type vibe going on to that one. That just sounds wonderful. I love Foot Tapper, which is indeed a foot tapper. The Warlord, these are my favourites on side one, but I have to give special mention to Atlantis on side one, which is track number 10. The reason being, I know I've mentioned it on the channel before in another video, but it does make me smile. So I'm going to tell the story again very briefly. You'll have to indulge me. When I worked at the first newspaper that I worked at, the news group that I was employed at when I was breaking into journalism, my line manager, he was the sort of the boss of that group that I worked on, that desk. He was a huge Shadows fan, and he would just sit all day long with his head like that, with two fingers, typing away. That was his typing style. I can picture it now, clear as day, and he would just be humming. All day long, he would, and you'd think for a lot of people that it would make them, put them off the song Atlantis, but not me. Maybe it broke others. It didn't break me. It made me more fond of the track. And to be honest, whenever I do hear Atlantis coming on, I do always think back to the newsroom and think of my old boss Alan, with his head going and typing away with a big grin on his face. Even on deadline, cool as a cucumber. When he had editorial to get in, he'd just be clicking away, doing his thing and humming the Shadows. Much to our enjoyment on the desk. So just wanted to get that little anecdote in there. But then on side two as well, I've got some lovely songs on here that I enjoy a lot. FBI's brilliant, Geronimo, Stingray, Theme for Young Lovers, and then it finishes with Dance On, which is superb as well. So if you're after great instrumental guitar music from the 1960s, lots and lots of beautiful twang on there, reverby, just great chiming sound to it, great rhythm playing on it as well. Actually, I should give a shout out to the rhythm playing. It's not all about Hank, although for me personally, being a guitarist, it is the guitar playing of Hank Marvin that does make me come back to the Shadows. But just great music. What can you say? Superb stuff. 20 golden greats by the Shadows. Okay, so how many have we got left? We've got 4 left. So at this stage of the proceedings, it's usually at this point now that I thank people for being here. If you're still listening to me after what I've done so far, I really appreciate it. My videos do go on. That is part and parcel of what I do. Kind of got a bit of a rep for doing that now, but that's just how I like to show up on the old YouTube and within the vinyl community. Just letting my passion out there and showing off, hopefully, for everybody to watch a lot of nice records. So thank you for still being here if you are. I really appreciate your time and attention. And let's get on to these final 4 albums today to wrap us up with Silver and Gold. And we'll bring part 3 of All My Colours to an end. Okay, so we've got a group here now coming up who, I think from memory, were founded in California again. Yeah, another Californian-based group. Had a lot of those, as I've already mentioned. And I think all the personnel some of them were American, some of them were Canadian. So we've got here now another best of. We've got Steppenwolf with Gold. There you go. Steppenwolf with that very full-on imagery there for the front cover. Just pretty much just does what it does, doesn't it? Just got a wolf on there, looking rather aggressive, and yeah, look at that. Lots and lots of teeth being bared on there, isn't it? There we go, really. So that's Steppenwolf. So that gets us started. We've got the photograph there on the back. There we go. And yeah, just a plain inner on that one. And I think, yeah, let me see. Yeah, it is on there. Yeah, I was just going to check if it was on there. So yeah, side 2, it's got Jupiter Child on there. I was trying to remember if it was on that or not. It is on there. Jupiter Child's on there. But yeah, in terms of sound, sorry, what to say, yeah, I mean, heavy, for me, this is like pretty heavy rock, almost like proto-punk, I suppose, proto-metal. Steppenwolf would say they were definitely a heavier group of the time. It wasn't all peace and love, I think, in terms of sound at this time, late 1960s. But these guys, I think, had a real edge to them, a real energy. I mean, of course, Born to Be Wild, side one, track one is their signature tune. It's the calling card. I can't help but think of Easy Rider whenever I hear that. That classic film. Peter Fonda, Jack Nicholson, Dennis Hopper, who also directed it as well. I mean, Born to Be Wild, it is a song that just does evoke the highway and getting your motor running and being out on just being a rebel, and it's like a biker classic, isn't it? I mean, let's be honest about it. Born to Be Wild, it's a very cool song. I would be interested if people think that maybe tired of it. Is it overplayed? But I mean, whenever I hear it, I just it definitely gets me rocking. I love the guitar sound, and it sounds really, it's just powerful, and it's got like a really sort of a nasty, almost like a bit of a razor's edge type feel to that guitar playing. It just sounds, even all these years on, full on, and yeah, just great energy to it. Love Born to Be Wild. It's not a song I'll ever get tired of. Rock Me does the job, track number 3 on side 1. But the other song that I wanted to mention, actually 2, because there are 2 really great songs on side 2. Magic Carpet Ride I've always enjoyed a lot as well, but I love The Pusher as well on side 2. So I'd say that probably my 3 favourite tracks on the whole collection are Born to Be Wild, Magic Carpet Ride and The Pusher. They're all superb tracks. It's not, I'd say overall, it's not like the greatest hits or best of it, whatever you want to call it, that I own, but it's certainly got enough merits on it for me to own it, for me to have kept it in the collection all this time. It's certainly not a bad listen. As I mentioned, Jupiter Child, I really enjoy, is on there as well. But yeah, I think it's more just worth the entry price alone for Born to Be Wild. I mean, if you want to just get yourself, some prime cuts of Steppenwolf in one place, then I don't really think you can go far wrong with it. I'm sure there are, deeper, more comprehensive collections that have come out over the years, but maybe just as a starting point, and I'm sure you can probably pick this up for a couple of quid. If you are collecting on vinyl, then maybe do keep a lookout for Gold by Steppenwolf. Okay, so moving on. So this one might take people by surprise a little bit. I don't think I've ever shown any classical music on my channel to date. Again, at time of recording, I don't believe I have, but I am actually a big classical music fan. Have to be in the mood for it. This is a collection that I used to play more often than not back in my years when I used to work as a publisher for a non-fiction military history company, just to be quite precise about what I used to do. I did that for a number of years, and more often than not, when I was proofreading and editing manuscripts or creating indexes or whatever other bits and pieces I used to be doing, project managing, working with authors, etc., making sure they were on a deadline with their work, I would have a bit of classical spinning in the background. That it used to keep me chill. It used to keep me focused on the work at hand. Sometimes spinning a few different plates when I had a few different books that were maybe all due to be sent off for publishing at the same time. And this music just used to really chill me out because it's instrumental. I could have it on at a low volume, and it just felt very comfortable when I was working in that industry, along with some great ambient music as well. But this one here takes me back to that time when I was doing that. So we've got here a collection called Classical Gold 2. And it is the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra with special guest orchestras. And just to read that bit there, it's a new 4-record collection of the world's most famous light classics. So there, it's very much the clue in the title. That was why I feel like I came back to it as often as I did, as something to spin, because it was light. It's not overly invasive on the ear. It's just a really beautiful collection of classical, it's got symphonies on here, overtures, operas. I'll go through a few of them because it has got some of my favourite ever composers on here. So you've got the likes of, the Magic Flute, an excerpt from Mozart. Got Tchaikovsky on here, Beethoven, who is my all-time favourite classical composer. Puccini's on here, Rimsky-Korsakov, Wagner, The Ride of the Valkyries. Now that's not a light one, I would say. That's pretty damn heavy, to be honest. Got Clair de Lune, oh wow, Debussy. Absolutely gorgeous piano piece, Clair de Lune. Air on a G string by Bach. Got Berlioz here as well, Dvorak's on here, Offenbach. Bizet, Grieg, Handel, Strauss. What's the ones to love on here? It's got Mahler's Fifth on there as well. That's the symphonies there on side 2 of record 1, Beethoven's Fifth. Amazing. What more do I need to say? How often has Beethoven's Fifth been sampled or referenced in music? Whether it be rock, hip hop, you name it. Beethoven's Fifth is where it's at. Great stuff. William Tell, Rossini's on here as well. Hansel and Gretel by Humperdinck. Not Engelbert, I don't think. But yeah, this is just lovely. Yeah, water music, beautiful. One of my favourites there. Just some really gorgeous pieces on there. But yeah, Claire de Lune might be very, very well one of my favourites. So again, I'll pick out a few favourites. I've already mentioned Beethoven's Fifth. Please check that out. Claire de Lune by Debussy. Please do check that out. And what else do we love on here? Yeah, that's gorgeous as well. Nocturne Number 2 by Chopin is on there as well. So yeah, I've kind of leant towards some of the more piano-led bits on there, but I mean, Beethoven's Fifth is a full-on symphony, so it's not, that's got all kinds of instruments crashing around on that one, but it's beautiful. It's just absolutely strident, magnificent piece of composing. But yeah, Beethoven's my favourite. So yeah, that might be one that's maybe a little bit of an outlier there for people that have tuned into me regularly, just to show you some classical music. But it's lovely to be able to do so, and I will just show the records off very quickly as well. So there we go, record 1. Hopefully you can read that properly there without the glare of the ring light. So then, yeah, record 2 got waltzes, marches, and Viennese airs on that one. It's a really lovely collection, this. Concert Masterpieces on record number 3. There we go. And then number 4 is operas and classical favourites. So yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest and say, I don't listen to the entire thing, front to back. I mean, it's a lot of music. But what I will do, or what I do, or what I did do, I should say, back in the day when I was certainly working, in an office at home on my own with many, many hours ahead of me, I would, for instance, just stick a whole side on or mix it up a bit and put different bits and pieces on. So yeah, it takes back to a nice time, that one does. Very, very nice indeed. And just a really lovely, lovely selection of classical music to chill out to. Great background music, I do recommend that, certainly if you're working on something that requires a bit of focus, but you just want a bit of music to, disrupt the silence. Okay, so that's that one. Right, so we've only got a couple left now. So next one we've got is a various artists compilation. One of my favourite ever record labels releasing some of my favourite ever music. This was the music that I was brought up to, brought up on, I should say, thanks to my mum, who was a huge fan of this label and a huge fan of virtually all the artists that were on it. And it's lovely now when I do listen to these tracks, because one of my clients who I'm currently working with now, they're really into their Motown as well. So there you go, I've given you the label. They're into the Motown music, and it's always lovely whenever I'm going working over at their premises that they have the Motown music going as well. So you might know what this particular collection is. You probably guessed it, but the one I'm showing here is Motown Gold. I bet you were trying to rack your brains then of how many Motown compilations had the word gold in. But yeah, here we go, Motown Gold. Motown's 18 greatest hits. Yeah. Featuring the Four Tops, Diana Ross, the Supremes, Marvin Gaye, the Temptations, Junior Walker and the All-Stars, Stevie Wonder, the Jackson 5, Martha Reeves and the Vandellas, Gladys Knight and the Pips, Jimmy Ruffin, Michael Jackson, Cyrita, I believe that is, Smokey Robinson and the Miracles, and the Commodores. There you go. I do hope I pronounced that name correctly there as well. That's great as well. I think I'm going to read that. That's brilliant. So, you're handling solid gold. The 18 tracks on this album represent Motown's biggest British hits. All have been chartbusters. 6 have been number 1. 7 have been in the top 10. 5 have been in the top 20. And these are tracks with a difference. Hits will come and hits will go. But these Motown Gold classics will go on forever. Quite right. Completely agree with that. That's why no record collection is complete without Motown Gold. Treasure it. What a brilliantly written piece that is. Love that. And yeah, the songs. Oh, the songs. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Favourites. Well, it opens up with Reach Out, I'll Be There. And the Four Tops were my mum's favourite Motown group. So I have to give a call out for Reach Out, I'll Be There. Absolutely epic vocal performance on that by Levi Stubbs. Then we've got Baby Love there following up, Diana Ross and the Supremes. My personal favourite on the entire album is track number 3, side 1. I Heard It Through the Grapevine, Marvin Gaye. Does not get better than that for me. I mean, the rest of the side is brilliant as well. Got Jimmy Mack on there, I'll Be There, Yes to Me, Yes to You, Yesterday. I'm Still Waiting, Walking the Night, I'm Gonna Make You Love Me. All amazing, side 1. Side 2 is None Too Shabby either. I absolutely love The Tears of a Clown, Smokey Robinson. That might be my favourite track on there, alongside I Heard It Through the Grapevine and Reach Out, I'll Be There. Probably do that as a, trifecta, that one. Amazing. What Becomes the Broken Hearted, brilliant, brilliant song. Help Me Make It Through the Night is wonderful. Yeah. And then Machine Guns Close by the Commodores. Superb record, brilliant. A great distillation of Motown. And I do completely agree with those instructions. It is one to treasure. Wonderful stuff, brilliant. Okay, and then that now brings us to the final record for my Silver and Gold series. It's been a big one. A long video here, but thank you again for being with me. Let's get into it. One of the greatest ever performers in rock for me. He's been on the channel before, coming out of Canada. Got, of course, to finish After the Gold Rush by the mighty Neil Young. Wonderful stuff. 1970, so came out the same year that he'd also released Deja Vu as a part of course, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. There's the back cover. And then we've got pretty much my favourite ever photograph of Neil Young that I've ever seen anyway. I've mentioned that, I think, before on the channel as well from memory. That photograph is just awesome. All the guitars there in play. Just the, capturing the artist there. And I think I've mentioned it before, it sort of straddles between, looking like a pose, but also being slightly candid as well. It sort of just kind of treads that tightrope, doesn't it, between the two? But it's just a very, very cool shot, that. And, just catching Neil Young there in a moment. But yeah, what can I say about this album? So if you're new to Neil Young, if you're not familiar, country rock, folk rock, just par excellence. I mean, this is as good as it gets, really. This is one of my favourite Neil Young albums as well. So I think it's a brilliant way to be finishing off part 3. I have to say my favourite song on here is Only Love Can Break Your Heart. That is my favourite on the album. I've always loved it. Great song. Just out of interest, it went on to be covered many years later by the group Saint Etienne, a British group. They did a great cover of it. I'd encourage you to check that out. A bit more of a sort of a dancey, almost like a bit of a baggy Manchester sort of a vibe to their version of it. But the original is as good as it gets here. It's just a beautiful, beautiful song. I love Southern Man as well. That's got a bit of a rock, a rocking vibe to it. Till the Morning Comes is gorgeous as well. After the Gold Rush, the title track, definitely worth listening to. I Believe in You. Don't Let It Bring You Down. I've got to mention Don't Let It Bring You Down. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Honestly, such a great album, that. Such a great album. I enjoy it very, very much, and I'm very, very happy to have a copy of that in the collection as well. I think I picked this up yes, I did. I'm pretty sure I did. I've just checked there at the bottom. It's a German pressing. I think I picked this up in Germany. I think I got this in Harvest, actually, at the same time. I think from memory. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I just had a memory there that I did get this in Germany. And then I did get lucky with Harvest as well, which is an amazing album by Neil Young. But, I mean, with that one, I've already given a few of my own favourites, but that's just one that is just awesome from beginning to end. That. Such a pivotal performer. an unbelievable influence on so many artists from, you know, the rock world, grunge, alternative, country rock, you know, the artists that came up sort of in the early 2000s and late 90s as well, Americana groups. Is honestly, the guy's reach is just unbelievable, and he just, you know, he's just one of those amazing examples of a person just who puts it all out there, you know, heart on the sleeve, just rocks out with the very best of them. I've never seen him live, sadly. I've got a few very close friends of mine who've seen him live and said he was incredible, and just played for, you know, played on and on and on, and was just a wonderful joy to watch. But I don't think I'll get to see him live, sadly, now. But I'm not sure about that. But yeah, after the gold rush, I think that's a really great way to finish this series, or this part, I should say. Getting ahead of myself. Got 2 parts to go yet. It's a 5-part of this one, but we've concluded part 3 here with that. So if anybody's got any more thoughts on Neil Young after the gold rush, then please do let me know. A bit of a spoiler. In my 1970 video that I did when around the 1970s, that album does appear in that list, in my top 15. So if you want to hear a little bit more about what I said, then please do check out that video as well. I'd be much obliged if you did. And that, everybody, is a wrap. So I am now completed with silver and gold. So I just want to say thank you very, very much again if you are still here, still listening to my musings and my tangents and detours and meanderings and waffles and whatever other words you want to use to talk about all music that is silver and gold. It really means a lot for you to be here, and I just really enjoy having the chance to share my passion for music and taking refuge in records. So if you've got any comments about what I've shown today, then please do share them with me, and I would love to have the chance to interact and converse with you. If you are new to the channel and you've enjoyed what I've done today, then I would really appreciate it if you could please consider giving the video a like. It really does help with the growth of the channel, and also if I can maybe persuade you as well to consider subscribing to the Vinyl Sanctuary. That would be awesome if you did. And if you do choose to do that, then please do remember to click the notification bell, and that will keep you up to date of when I've got any future content landing. So regarding part number 4 then, which I'll get back to as soon as I can, we're going to be looking at the colours as it goes in the song Sing a Rainbow, which I think was made famous by Peggy Lee. It is going to be red, yellow, pink and green for part 4. So we've got 4 colours there, red, yellow, pink and green. So if you want to get your thinking caps on, ready for the next time I make an appearance, and you want to share your favourite red, yellow, pink and green albums with me in part 4, then I'd love to see what you choose. I will be back with the ones that are in my own collection. I think there's about 10 or 11 from memory. I'll get back to you on that one. And please do let me know as well what silver and gold albums you would include in your list here for today as well. So they can be collections, you know, greatest hits, various artists, soundtracks, whatever it is you've got, then you know, do please share them with me as well. Okay, so I'm all done now with that. Thank you again, and until next time, bye for now.